What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spotlight by CG Roofless, man. Let's welcome my special guests, a Tulare Union High School standout and former Fresno State standout and currently, or Rhode Island standout. And now, recently, he's on the Hampton University standout, man, declaring for the draft, man. Let's welcome my guy, Randy Jordan Jr., man. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up? Glad to be here, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. For those people who are not familiar with you, man, tell me about yourself.
All right, so my name is Randy Jordan Jr. Obviously, I'm a junior. I'm from Tulare, California. I'm the eldest out of four siblings, and yeah, I've been playing football ever since I was like 6 years old, man.
Oh yeah, so you started off your football journey from playing at 6 years old, right?
Yeah, tackle football too. I remember my dad was my coach. I played on the Tulare Wildcats. That was my first football team.
Oh, so what position did you play when you first started?
If I remember, I was like, so we ran like a wing tee a little bit. So I was like a wing player. I would get like reverses and whatnot. And then on defense, I played like, I think I was like a DN, an edge rusher or something like that. I was just too fast.
Yeah, eventually you got too fast and switched positions to a bigger position, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then from there, man, you played at a very good high school program, which they've been known to win championships in that Division Two.
Oh yeah, so Tulare Union, yeah, Coach Bennett, he's a great coach. They've been winning championships. Tulare Union, by the way, Tulare Union been winning championships since I want to say like what the 70s, 60s, something like that. It's a very good school, and they take football serious. Well, they take most of the sports at that school serious.
Yeah, they sure do because their record speaks for itself. I mean, they had to change the name from Redskins to something else, which I never understood. I mean,
The tribe, yeah, it was like a big petition thing going on. The Commanders had to do the same thing.
yep, they did.
Yeah, I think that was the same year.
Yeah, but I guess they kind of, but from my understanding, majority of the natives didn't find it that offensive.
Oh yeah, like yeah, there was a big like that's the thing though. I think it was like a big like a petition, but most natives didn't even vote, from what I was hearing. I'm not sure though.
I mean, there's certain parts of certain, like maybe the Cleveland Indians might have been that way, but I don't think it had with the Redskins or nothing like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they changed theirs too, huh? They're the Guardians now.
Yeah. So I see that you have some NFL bloodlines, man. You have some families who played in the NFL, man. What were your influence with them?
Yeah, so ever since I was a kid, my idols are like my dad. Well, I didn't really get to see my dad play. So my dad, he went to Tulare Union as well. He played cornerback. He he played at Kansas State for Coach Snyder, and then he got a chance at the league, but then he got cut from the Chargers. So he was really one of my like. I think I was around like 4 years old, I believe, like when he was like finishing playing. And then the person who I really looked up to was my uncle Robert. He played with Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn, and Aaron Rodgers on Cal. He played at Cal. So like watching them and like them going to the playoffs, like all that, I was their biggest fan. They let me go on the field. They let me do everything. So ever since then, like that's been like that's basically what kickstarted it. And then my cousin Josh Johnson, a lot of people know him for being like the journeyman quarterback. He's been on a lot of teams, the most teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
So
he's like the Ryan Fitzpatrick of the NFL.
yeah, yeah. So that's my cousin as well. Everybody in my family just plays ball.
Oh yeah, and then there's like relations to Marshawn Lynch too, huh?
Yeah. So he's definitely my cousin. He's like my dad and my uncle's cousin. So like my second cousin.
So has he given you any other knowledge for the game or no?
Yeah, like attending his camp. So they host his camp. They have an organization. Him, my uncle Josh. It's a couple of them. Marcus Peters. They have an organization called it's the Family First Foundation, and it's been going on since I was a kid. And they host a camp. It's a free camp every year for the local kids in Oakland or in the Bay Area. where you just go and then like they host drills and then you just talk to them and they give you free cleats, free gloves at the end of the scrimmage and everything. So just attending those and then being around them, he used to give me like we used to race in the street when we was little and he used to give me like a $5 bill if I win. Obviously he'll let me win. But like as far as knowledge for the game, like just watching him, I mean, we don't. The crazy thing is, like, when I'm around my family, we rarely talk about ball. It's always catching up and just being amongst each other, But like just watching him and like I definitely picked up some things from him.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with picking up knowledge from family members and see how they had a good NFL career and all that way. So when you were coming out of high school, what was the offers besides Fresno State?
Coming out of high school, I think my first offer was definitely Fresno, and then I had Hawaii. They're also in the Mountain West. Cal Poly. I think the rest were like FCS schools. I had Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington, and I believe there's one more, but that's all I can name right now at the top of my head. I think it was like five or six.
Must have been so long ago, but then you ended up going to Fresno State. So what was the experience playing over there that you didn't have to go too far?
Oh, so what really made my decision, with my uncle and Marshawn and all them, just watching Tedford, they played for Tedford at Cal when they were playing. So, that was already like I was already low key biased to playing over there. Once Tedford came talking to me, like he coached my uncle and everything. I was already biased because I grew up watching Cal. Cal's my favorite football team, my college football team. So, with him being a coach for so long over there and then him being at Fresno State, it was like, oh, this is a no brainer. And then Tulsa's were like 50, 60 miles away from Fresno. They were they'll be at the school, like watching us play every chance they could, they were at the school, watching some of my games and then just showing love, sending me text messages like, I hope you do good this game. Or like we really watching you and they would really watch. So it was really like a 559 thing. Like it felt like a family affair, if I could say that.
Yeah. What do you take away from that experience from over there? I mean, you spent 3 years down there.
At Fresno, it was cool. My freshman year, Teffer was a coach. We had a decent team. I got to play with real good guys, man. Guys that are in the league, guys that are some real ballers in that defense. Juju Hughes, he's from Hanford. He was an older guy. I think he was a senior when I was a freshman. Yeah, we had Mike Walker at linebacker. We had a lot of dudes on that defense. So when I came in my freshman year, it was definitely like a little bit of a change. I wouldn't say it was a big drastic change, but it was definitely a change from high school and having to learn more things on the defense, and then being like, one of the corners got injured, so I had to play right away as a true freshman. So guarding like seniors, juniors, it was a little different, but I had to get acclimated real fast. And I would take my freshman year, I did pretty well. I used that as like a learning experience. Like I really definitely built off that year. And then going into sophomore year, that's 2020. That was when the COVID and
That
the
COVID
quarantine
year.
and stuff happened. So everything was really out of whack. And then Tedford, like he had health problems, so he couldn't coach anymore. He took a step back. So during that time, the season talks of the season were in the air. Nobody really knew what was going on. We had a new coaching staff. That was when DeBoer came. DeBoer came from Indiana with his coaching staff. But I had the same corners coach, Coach JD. He was still the same corners coach. So DeBoer came in that COVID year, and that year I would say we had like 5, 6 games, but it was really like they were trying everybody out. They were really just building. They were building people. Like they bought in who they wanted. They had people already there. And that year was just a building year. They were really just throwing people in at different positions, seeing who could play this, who could play that, just to build the how can I say it? Just to build a basis for the next season. So that year it was like I barely played. Like I every now and then I had some plays, but it was, we only had 5, 6 games, so it wasn't really too much. And then my junior year, the 2021 season, I had gotten injured during camp and I had messed up my shoulder. So I couldn't really play. And then yeah, I couldn't really play much of the season, so I really missed a lot of games. And then that's when I just decided to hit the portal, and yeah, that was it. That was my time at Fresno. It felt really short, to be honest. Those 3 years like felt really short because of that 2020 season, but it was definitely a good experience. Getting on that field so young and being able to play against top guys that early really set the tone for my college career.
Yeah, it sure did. But then it led you to go to Rhode Island. What was intriguing about going to Rhode Island, man? It's just a small state in the United States, man. It has to be like one of those
Yeah,
type of states, man. I guess they have the best clam chowders or something like that.
yeah, they do. They got some good lobster too. But it was different. It was so when I was in the portal, man, it was like I didn't have too many offers going into the portal. I had like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but like when you hit the portal, a lot of schools, like a lot of big schools will follow you. Like Oregon, like the coaches from Oregon will follow me, coach from UCLA, but they will never DM you. So like I'm thinking I'm doing good. I'm thinking I'm getting like, okay, these coaches are looking at me. But then like more of like the East Coast schools started hitting me. And then my last two schools that I was really considering were Chattanooga, UT, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, their FCS as well, and then Rhode Island. And then I also had Northern Arizona too. I had Northern Arizona as well. Those are my last three. But I was going to commit to the University of Chattanooga on my birthday, but the coach that called me and said, "Yo, like a local kid just committed. That was the last of our corner offers, so we're just gonna have to, just dismiss you." So I was like, "Dang, man." And at the time, Northern Arizona, I don't know what their record was, but it wasn't too good. And then Rhode Island, like that was like another option. So I took a visit out there, like a week before my birthday. I think I took a visit out there, and man, it was different, man. I was not used to going that far east. It was cold. Like I wasn't prepared, man. Like I was freezing out there. And then just the look of everything was different. There's no palm trees, I wasn't used to that. So I'm like, oh man, I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't think I want to come out here. But then my mom was like, I think it's a blessing for you, like, cause I was ready to honestly, I was ready to go to JUCO. Like I wanted to stay in Cali so bad. I'm a California kid. I never been outside of California. But she was like, no, like don't pass up this opportunity to keep playing ball out there at a D1 level. So, my
Yeah,
mom was a main factor in that decision. So I was like, I'll just go do it. It was hard being away from my family. So yeah, that was really the thing. And they were a winning program at the end of the day. So, you know, that had a factor.
I mean the journey had to be like something out of the ordinary. I mean we wanted to stay in California, of course, but
Yeah.
just wasn't in the cards for you. So you just had to take that journey, man. Just I mean, going to Rhode Island had to be something different than what you were accustomed to California.
Nah, most definitely. It's way different out there. Way different. It's just the weather. The weather is the main thing. That's really the main thing. It's just the weather for real.
So, what did you get out of that experience playing at Rhode Island?
Okay, so Rhode Island, I would say Fresno is where I got the opportunity to play at a high level and play against people that are actually in the NFL right now and guard people that are in the NFL. But when I got to Rhode Island, I could say that's where I became a complete football player because the coaching staff it was a great coaching staff. The person who recruited me, the DC at the time was Jack Cooper. I think he's at Nebraska now, but he was straightforward with me. He was just blunt. He was like, man, because he was a DC as well as a defensive backs coach. So he called me. He was like, man, like, I like what I see on film, and I really want you to come here and be a nickel for us. At Fresno, I played strictly corner. I didn't get we didn't run a nickel based defense. So when I got to Rhode Island, he was like, "Yeah, I want you to play nickel, some corner. You're going to be an athlete for us." So I'm like, "Okay." He knew what he wanted from me. So all I had to come do was learn. It was a harder playbook than Fresno's. It was way more intricate. I would say like you really had to be a smart player to play in that defense. So when I got there, it took me a little minute to learn the defense, but playing at such a at an FBS level, it was really easy to pick it up. I'm a smart player, so nickel was different. Going from corner to nickel, it was a little different. I got the blitz and I got to be safety. Like sometimes I was a safety, like a deep half safety. Sometimes I'm blitzing. some plays, I'm lined up in the box and I'm just playing like a linebacker. So yeah, that first year at Rhode Island, for sure, it was learning, and then becoming a smarter player. I learned more about offenses and what they like to do. Jack Cooper, like that, he's a smart man. He's one of the best coaches that I've ever talked with. He's a great football mind. So learning under him, it was definitely like it boosted my IQ to a whole nother level. So then after that first year, on my second year at Rhode Island, that's when everything took off. I did good. Then I was also returning as well. I returned kicks. So doing all that, I was just all over the defense and just moving around, communicating, getting smarter game by game. We had coaches that really broke down things to us and made it simple. So yeah, I would say Rhode Island, that experience over there is where I really became a complete football player.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 years out of that, but then you transferred to Hampton, man. What was the transfer? Like, I guess you went to another start, man.
Yeah, so after that, okay, so I had a great year my second year. Everything's clicking. I'm thinking like I'm at the top of my game right now. I feel like I'm in my prime because, coming off like not playing at Fresno that last year, like being injured, and then like learning at Rhode Island, and then finally it clicking for me. You know, I was like, okay, I done did my time out here in the East Coast, man. It's getting too cold. I've been out here too long. I'm trying to get back west. So that was my whole mindset. So it was nothing personal. Entering the transfer portal was nothing personal. It was definitely like just trying to get back to the West Coast. Because while I was in Rhode Island, some things happened. My grandfather had passed, and I couldn't make the funeral, the viewing. I couldn't make anything because of football, and I'm out here in the East Coast, so that definitely took a toll on my mental health while I was in Rhode Island. So I was just like, man, I got to get back west. Support my family, just be there. But I entered the portal, and I don't know West Coast. I didn't get any West Coast offers. The only offer I had was Hampton. If I'm gonna be quite honest, yeah, the only offer I had was Hamptons, Rhode Island and Hampton are in the same conference. So at that point, I just had to make another decision and was like, I thought things were gonna go better, but I had to take that one on the chin and just commit to Hampton.
Yeah, must have been a very different environment, but like you said, it's in the same competition, right?
Yeah, the same exact conference. And the crazy thing is, they scheduled, they were on the schedule for Rhode Island the next season too.
It just kind of feels strange to go on the rival, huh?
Yeah, most definitely. It felt a little different, man.
Yeah. So from what you're saying, from what I'm looking at, bro, you do have some good skills as a return man. Because I seen that you said in Rhode Island you did return a touchdown and all that other stuff. So you showcased that you can return the punts and kicks. So that's pretty good. Yeah, you would probably see more like a nickel at the next level, or maybe an outside corner.
Yeah, I see myself at like a slot corner, like a nickel type player, blitz and then guard the slot shifty receivers. I can do that. Like anything man to man. If they want me to play man to man, I can do that. I feel like that's my strong suit.
So the coverages that you play, were they man to man or zone, or what kind of coverage did you guys play at Rhode Island to Hampton?
Oh yeah, Rhode Island. The Rhode Island defense. It was like, yeah, they would throw me in. They would be like, okay, I was in on certain packages. If I wasn't in that corner, I was in that nickel in a certain package, and they would basically lock me up on their best slot player. They'd be like, okay, you lock him up, and we're gonna run cover one. Just do what you do basically. Just go in there and lock him up. And then sometimes they'll throw me in and they'll be like, okay, we'll run cover two, but you're gonna act like you're showing man and then be a deep half safety. So, it was just switching it up like that. And then at Hampton, it was I was predominantly a corner because they needed somebody on the outside to cover. But I also played like dime. I played dime, nickel. Some reps I even played safety here. So I was really all over the defense at Hampton. But it was pretty much the same thing. But I was mostly outside just playing man.
Okay, so you would probably fit well at the any. So you would probably fit at any other coverage from the transition, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So they see you more as a nickel or an outside corner.
Yeah, for the next level is a nickel for sure, like a slot cornerback.
Yeah, I think that's where you would probably make your money right there, man. even on special teams, even as a returner, and then looking at your pro day, you actually ran a 4.36. You may not be the biggest guy, but you make up for it, man. So you play with you play like bigger than what your size is, you know. So you got a dog in you. So what NFL teams have met with you?
So far, my agent, he's talked. Well, I've talked to the at Liberty's Pro Day. I talked to the Patriots and the 49ers, and they reached out to my agent. But those are the only two teams as of right now that we were talking to. A couple of CFL teams had my agent, and we were talking like Winnipeg, the Toronto Argonauts, BC Lions as well. So yeah, two NFL teams and then three CFL teams so far.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure when it comes down to it, like Patriots are just right down in the New England continent, just right where you're close by, and then you got the Niners all the way down West Coast. So it's like one or the other. Like you said, you want to
Yeah.
go back to the West Coast, but what was the interaction with the 49ers?
Oh yeah, so there was this one drill at the end where he had all the DBs, the 49ers scout had the DBs doing drills. And I was doing the drill really well, and he was like, "Damn, like that was the best drill here." So afterward we were just talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, I like what I see." Just chopping it up. He just got my info, got my agent's info, and then that was that from there. And then the Patriots scout, he's like, "Oh, so he noticed I was doing Rhode Island's pro day as well, and he said he'll just see me over there." So that
Yeah,
was talks with them.
at least you're getting two teams that would matter for you at this point. But I'm pretty sure they'll come around come draft day. We'll see. But why should NFL teams draft you, man?
So I feel like NFL teams should draft me as a player because they're going to get somebody who is a true coverer. I would say my feet are very even. I can close ground quick, man to man. I feel like the league right now in the professional NFL, CFL, wherever, UFL, there's not a lot of people that are really great at man to man coverage. Just a select few. And I feel like I can come in and be a great man to man defender because I've been doing it my whole life. They'll just throw me in and tell me to just guard somebody, and that's what I do. And also, right along with that, they're going to get a person who can return. I take pride in returning. I practice it just as much as my DB skills. So yeah, they're gonna get somebody who can return and takes pride in returning.
Oh yeah, I can see it, man. Like I can see how San Francisco might see you as maybe as a nickel or maybe as a return man or other roles. I mean, Patriots they see you the same way too. So maybe there's something there with your value. So let's get to know more about you outside of football. So outside of football, who are you as a person, man?
Like as a person, I don't have too many hobbies, but like so my undergrad was in philosophy. So my reason for choosing that was because I just like thinking outside the box and like thinking about concepts and abstracts and ideas and stuff. And so that has a big part of like a big part to do with why I am the way I am. I'm just a thinker. So outside of football, I like to read. I like to just think about new ways to make somebody's day better. Just I don't know. I would say like I'm just a big thinker. I like to think about stuff, man. I just like to make people's days better.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we all are, but when it comes down to it, let's do some rapid fire, man. Like, say you're in the middle of nowhere. If you had to choose
Right.
between Burger King or McDonald's, which one would it be?
McDonald's, man. I got like 5,000 points on the mobile app right now.
All right, that's fair enough. As far as like a place you can't go wrong with, as far as like the shopping thing, like Walmart or Target, which one is it?
So we shopping for clothes or food?
Or just anything in general with the price budget, you know?
Target.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with it, man. So like, the one thing interesting about going to Tulare is the outlet, man. They got a good outlet mall over there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they sure do. As far as like PlayStation or Xbox, which one would you play?
PlayStation for sure.
Call of Duty or Madden?
Duty.
All right, cool. See, we're getting to know about you a little bit more. So, how do you deal with quitters on your guys' team, man? Like, how do you deal with the circumstances? Let's say it's in the middle of the game. How do you deal with that?
You said quitters, like people who don't want to play
Yeah,
anymore.
like somebody who walks out on you guys during the game or something.
Uh, I haven't really experienced that too much, but if I did have that situation happen where somebody's trying to quit and it's like crunch time, then you can't really say much to them. If they already checked out, all you can do is try to get somebody in there who's ready for the moment. Somebody who's been practicing just as much as that person, and who's ready to capitalize on the opportunity. When another person goes down, that's the same with somebody getting injured. Like, that's unforeseen circumstances. So, just get somebody in there, their backup maybe who's been dialed in all week and is ready to capitalize on the opportunity. And maybe they're gonna take the 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 position they're in and run with it and never be on the bench again.
Oh yeah, I mean, we all have different circumstances, different situations, and all that stuff. So let's say in the middle of the game, you guys are like one of your teammates is just on the same page with your other teammate, and they're just on the good communication on the sidelines. They're just trying to figure out something, but they're going through an altercation. How do you deal with that situation? The game can be emotional, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like if they're in an altercation, you want to try to diffuse it before the coaching call timeout, because if the coach sees it, this is on the field, right?
Yeah, you want to diffuse the situation. You want to make sure it's in good terms where they're not like mad at each other or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like if it's on the field, you just want to, just tell them to shut up, like before, your coach burns a timeout, because he's going to see people arguing out there. You can't show the opposition or the other team that you're breaking down. They're going to feed off that energy. So you just want to just tell them like, next play. You got to have a next play mentality, and just get to work. That's all you can tell them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Like just next series or next play, man. Just move on with it. Is that what they would all say about? Let's say you guys are down by multiple touchdowns. How do you get back from halftime? Just what's your pep talk? What's your speech? What can get this team fired up to come from behind and win this ball game?
Oh yeah, those are the best. I feel like those are the best moments. When you down and you got to go to halftime, and then you just got to recuperate. The talks in there. We've been at that position. I played ball for a long time, so we've definitely been at that position multiple times. And I would say like the times where we did like come back and win, were like the halftime talks. The common thing the halftime talks all had in common was the fact that the coaches were never panicking. It starts with the coaches. Good coaches, they're not going to panic. They're going to tell you the same thing. And what that thing was, it was like, you guys are cool. Just stay. We're still in the game. The game's not over. Just focus on the fundamentals and play whatever I call. At the end of the day, y'all gotta play whatever the DC calls at a high level. And that was really just it. Just going out there, shaking that off. A couple of plays might have happened that went the other way, but now you got a chance. It's 0-0. Now it's 0-0. Now you go out there and play your ass off. That was really it. That's all you could really tell a teammate or your teammates.
Yeah, either one or not, man. Two more quarters, man. It's
Yeah.
just ain't over until the fat lady sings, like they say. So how do you prepare for your upcoming opponents, and what's your tendency when you face those opponents?
Oh my bad. You got that?
All good, man. So how do you
Uh,
prepare for your upcoming games as far as like watching film and all their tendency? Like, how do you prepare against them?
um, just preparing for the different teams. It's every week looks different. So when I was at Rhode Island and I was playing like a strictly nickel type position, I was um I was the more vocal player. I was the leader on the defense. So everything evolves around the nickel. So I have to make a nickel left, nickel right call. So when I'm in there, we start off with like, okay, what's their best plays that we want to eliminate? What's their home run plays? What's their trick plays? We start off like that, and then we go from like par downs, which is first and second down. We look at their best first and second down plays to go to, what formation that's in, and who they want to get the ball to, and then we'll work third downs. And third downs, like we call that money down. So we have a money down day where we just focus on third downs. And being that nickel, it was really some teams would like to get the ball to their slots. Some people would like to get their ball to like the running back, like on screens or something if it's third and long. And some teams would like to give it to the outsides. If they got a good dude on the outside, they'll try to ISO him or something and just call a play for him. But just seeing certain formations, it was really easy. Once you learn the formations and who their star player is and who they want to get the ball to, it was really simple. Like just studying that throughout the week, knowing their go-to plays, it made the game so much slower. It felt like practice, honestly.
Yeah, like so. When did you feel the game got really slower for you?
My second year at Rhode Island, I felt like that was when I was the smartest. I was the smartest player there because the first year was it's still a little fast, but that second year it was really clicking. Like because I took studying more seriously and I understood the game way better. So everything was really just slow motion. Like now I'm calling out plays. Like I'm telling my teammates like they're gonna run this right now. So be in this position to make the play. And they were happening. And yeah, that's when I could say everything really got slower.
Oh yeah, for sure. So what do you take from the COVID year and the transfer portal thing that kind of benefited you the most?
The COVID year, I felt like that benefited me because it was just playing without nothing to lose. You just out there. We just out there. That year didn't even count. So it was just out there getting another 5 6 games of football. Under your belt, just going out there and just playing. And then the portal, I would say, um, that was a blessing as well because it really granted me the opportunity to go across the nation. Experience new things, and then play for a different defense and become a better player overall.
For sure, man. Like, see, the COVID year got you an extra year, so that's the
Yeah,
advantage. I think some people would realize, like, I think this is the last two draft class where they actually have the final years of the COVID year for some of the guys who've been here the longest.
yeah,
I mean, don't you kind of feel like the most savvy vet out of all of the people in college?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, most definitely. I'm what six. This is my 6th year. Yeah,
Yeah, 6 year. So you came out of like college in 2019, huh?
yeah. That's when I left high school. That's when I graduated.
But you got to be a seasoned vet out of this. So I think this is what benefits you is because you got the most experience than most of the guys who's coming out of the NFL draft. So you would probably be the more seasoned guy that would probably know the system and all that stuff quickly off the bat.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I would say I'm definitely a seasoned vet when it comes to just football in general at this point.
Yeah. So who do you model your game after, man? Just from watching films and all that stuff that you try to learn from.
Um, at first it was a honey badger, Tyron Matthew. I used to watch him a lot, and then I started watching a lot of Denzel Ward. I like the way Denzel Ward plays, Jair Alexander. But I feel like I modeled my game after Mike Hilton. You know who Mike Hilton is?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good like nickel type player, and I take away a lot of stuff from him. So that's who I
Yeah.
can model my game after.
Milton's pretty underrated, man.
Yeah, he's a dope player.
I mean, there's other guys too that you can benefit the most. There's like there's Kwan Williams, who's probably not the biggest also.
Yeah.
Then Lenore's kind of like the up and coming guy. He's just a little more feisty.
Mm-hmm.
But out of all those years, man, what do you take from all the college experience that you can try to improve going into the NFL that you need to work on the most?
Um, I would say being more decisive. I noticed like with the league DBs, you know, they're decisive with their decision making, and they jump at the opportunity when they see a ball thrown. Um, they may get burnt, but they're gonna make some plays. So I would say like I've been noticing that they're way more decisive. So I would say I can add that to my game, like being more decisive, like no, not even second guessing anything. If I see something, just going with it and then just jumping it. That's what I would say I could work on for sure.
Absolutely, man. So, for some people who probably overlook the stats, man, like why should you explain to fans like, hey man, the interceptions will come, but it's just what it is, it's sometimes misleading. Maybe you're the least target guy.
Yeah, nah, for sure, bro. And I would say like my whole college experience, like I wasn't targeted that much. Every time I'm in, I wouldn't get targeted, and I'm always in man. That's what I would say. I would start off by saying, I'm definitely in man coverage. So I would say like if I had like 800 snaps total, I would probably say like no. If I had 500 pass reps total, I would say like 450 maybe out of those were man coverage. So my back is to the ball most of the time in man coverage if they're running deep routes. So it's hard to get an interception in man coverage unless you really just dominate a whole rep like that. So, and being in a slot playing man, that's different too. They got more room to run different routes and everything. So, it was hard. It's hard getting an interception in man coverage.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a good job, it's kind of hard to get a pick when it's like you're not the most target guy. It's just
Yeah,
like some people don't get it, man. If you're the least target guy, that's part of the most unnoticed stats that should matter.
right. And
Like, don't get
sometimes
me
I would.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. If you were to have like 8 interceptions for the entire season, that would be something you would take all day. But of course, if you were just doing your job in coverage, that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and there'll be reps like I would just dominate somebody. Like the route would be dead. I would say that was most of last year. Like the routes I was already knowing was coming, and the quarterback would just not throw it. So that was just like most of my reps.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. But like it's going, bro. All those years in college, man, it's gonna finally pay off. You're gonna get your opportunity. Whatever team gives you a chance, man. I'm pretty sure they're getting a guy with more season and a guy who can play any spots in the secondary, or a guy who can contribute on special teams, especially your return ability, man. So you have a lot to bring to the table.
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh yeah, bro. So definitely appreciate your time, bro. I know it's gonna be a lot of fun, bro. So what's your plans going into like before the draft? Like what's your training and what's your upcoming schedules that you got planned?
Oh, so right now I'm training out here in Virginia. Until what May. Yeah, I leave Virginia in May because I'm graduated with my master's on May 11th. So yeah, right now until then, I'm gonna be out here training at a facility in Richmond. It's called D1 Midlothian. It's me and a couple Hampton guys, a couple a couple UFL guys. Well, not anymore. They're going now. They're in season, but we train there. So that's what it's looking
Oh,
like right now.
yeah. One last thing. Oh, wait, reception. Hmm. Reception issues or something. Something happened. Might just come back. I was gonna ask him one last. All right.
I'm back in. Oh my
All right.
god.
I forgot to ask you a couple more last questions because it slipped on my head. What's your college major? Like we all have backup plans.
Yeah, my undergrad is in philosophy. I definitely want to be a teacher, or still want to be a teacher with that. And my master's I'm getting is in sports administration.
Oh, that's cool, man. At least you're getting ahead of the game. So, what was an NFL team you grew up watching, man? I guess this is a good one. I'll answer from one of the fans.
Oh, my my team is the Las Vegas Raiders. It sounds crazy saying Las Vegas, but that's my team, the Raiders for sure. I would love to play for the Raiders, most definitely.
It's all good, man. We all have our teams we grew up, man. It's all good. I mean, it's a dream come true. I mean, hey, man, like whatever happens, but like you said, whatever the opportunity presents, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll play for anybody, but if I get on the Raiders, man, it's gonna be lit.
Hey, like the great Al Davis once said, man, you would fit the mold because you got the speed, you got something that fits the mold, man. Like the old Davis would say, man, that's a Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in all seriously, man, for everybody else, man, tell me where they can find your social media platform.
I have the same username across Instagram, TikTok, X. My username is gonna be ran2code. You know, I got the same username for all my socials.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wait, man, I didn't even ask for your favorite food. I guess we do one last one.
Favorite food? My favorite food. Like a favorite dish,
Yeah,
or
or
just like
anything.
my favorite dish. I'll probably say like steak and potatoes. I keep it simple. Steak and potatoes for sure.
Oh, that's what's up, man. And for everybody else, man, this is defensive back Robert Jordan Jr., man. Do not sleep on this guy. This guy has the most experience. This guy's been a journeyman, but this guy will make you pay, man. You don't want to throw his target because maybe you might pay the price for a pick six, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, yeah. And for everybody else, man, thank you guys for tuning in, and good.